Hey guys, Eric Perry, Focus Fishing Guide Service, Table Rock Fishing Intel. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Wednesday, February 15th, day after Valentine's Day. Did manage to get out on Table Rock, let's see, I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, or at least Saturday, Sunday, Monday this past week. Just finished a trip over in Taneycomo. But fishing's a little bit different. Things are really starting to change. I think we're seeing the beginnings of the transition that we normally see in the spring, or early spring, late winter. But it was definitely, the bite was a little bit tougher over the weekend, not bad on Monday. As far as our lake level is concerned, we're at 916.01 right now. Puts us almost exactly a foot above pool. Core has been running quite a bit of water. There is still some water coming in from last week's rain, and then we got rain yesterday. And they're trying to pull beaver back down to normal pool. So going to see some water moving through the lake, that's for sure. As far as our water temperature, I've been seeing upper 40s to low 50s. Monday, I was up the James River, and we saw 48 to 51 in the afternoon because water had a little bit of stain in it. Over the weekend, I was up around Baxter and then further up around Shell Knob, and everything was 47 to 49. So we definitely didn't get a cool off from this rain. So the water's warm. Like I said, the bite is changing. Best way to know what's going on, best way to stay on top of it, of course, become a pro member, Table Rock Fishing Intel. We have had a bunch of daily reports come through in the last few days. Gonna have a bunch more with guys getting ready for the BFL next weekend. And with just the number of guide trips we've got going on now, we're really gonna have a lot of stuff going on. So if you wanna get that information, wanna know what's going on a daily basis, join Table Rock Fishing Intel as a pro member and get all that information anytime you get on the website. But if you're coming down and wanna fish the lower end of the lake, lower end's definitely been the toughest part of the lake. It doesn't seem like it's got a shallow bite starting to materialize like a lot of the rest of the lake does. I mean, I'm sure there's a few fish up shallow if you go up Long Creek, but overall on the lower end, most of the fish that are being caught are deep and they are very tight to cover. I'm catching them on a Damiki, on a scuba spoon, scope spin, and a jigging wrap, but you've got to get that bait close to trees. It really seems like these fish, at least a few times of the guys I've talked to, these fish do not want to leave cover. They're holding very tight to trees on bluff ends, and they're holding very tight to brush piles out on the flats. Most of the fish are 25 to 35 foot deep over whatever the overall depth is, but the key is getting close to the trees. Did talk to a couple guys that went up Long Creek, went all the way up to the Arkansas line last week, and it just wasn't good. It may have been too close after the front. Not sure, but they just did not catch them very good up there. They had a couple of fish on a jerkbait and a couple of fish on a crankbait, and I think maybe one fish on a jig. But the bite up Long Creek was not good as of last weekend. We've got a good warming trend. That could certainly change overnight. Go in the mid-lake area. Bite's better in the mid-lake because you have got a couple of options. The deep bite is not as strong as it has been because these fish are starting to do that transition and move up a little bit shallower like they do every year this time of year. They're not moving up in mass, but they are moving up. You can catch them out in the trees, especially on bluff ends, on brush piles, on those deeper flats or where they're close to the roll-offs, or anywhere you can find shad with a scuba spoon, with a jigging wrap, with a scope spin, drop shot rig, and Damiki rig. It's just a matter of finding the fish and working it very close to that cover. The other thing that's going on is we are starting to see a shallow bite. And by shallow, we've caught them as shallow as about 10 to 15 foot deep. Some of them even shallower, maybe even 8 feet deep. And those fish have been coming on either a swim bait, like a Kitech 2.8 on a jewel gem shad, or catching them on a jig. I've caught quite a few over the weekend, and especially on Saturday or on Monday, on a Jewel Pro Spider jig, working it from about 8 foot all the way out to about 20 or 25 foot. It's not like it is in the spring where you can go down a stretch of bank and catch 20 or 30 fish, but there are fish up there. There are fish moving up. So a swim bait or a jig up a little bit shallower in the mid-lake has been working. Go up into the James. I was up the James on Monday. Didn't do anything but fish shallow, so I can't tell you if there's a deep bite up there or not. We caught a few on an A-rig. Those fish were close to cover. Most of them on brush, some of them on some trees, but most of them were on brush. Ends of channel swings where it kind of flattens out seem to be the best locations. We caught them on jigs, Jewel Pro Spider jig mostly, and 7/16 and Okeechobee Blue. And most of those fish came on the ends of channel swings, really right before it flattened out. Right where that transition was seemed to be where those jig fish were. Most of the fish we caught up the James were not that deep. They were probably 5 to about 15 foot deep. Some of them even a little bit shallower. I caught one on a jig when I pulled it off of the first rock on a bank. So they are a little bit shallower up the James. Did not really throw a jerkbait much, but I'm sure those same fish that we're targeting with the A-rig, you could probably catch them with a jerkbait as well. Go up in the white. When I fished the white over the weekend, Saturday was mediocre at best and Sunday was brutal. The fish we caught both days, caught most of them on a swim bait, Kitech 2.8 on a Jewel Gem shad, got a few on a Jewel Pro Spider jig on those gravel and rock mixed points up there, especially gravel and rock mixed at the end of a channel swing. Everything was main lake. It did not get a bite back in any of the creeks, so keep that in mind as well. Most of the fish 15 to 25 foot deep on that. We did fish deep a little bit. I think I had one on a Demiki rig, and we might have had one more on a jigging wrap on Saturday, but it was not good, and those fish were very tight to the trees. So at least in the rivers, it really looks like these fish are starting to transition. There's not scads of them up there shallow, but there are some fish starting to move up, and really the quality we caught up there was really pretty good. I think the deep bite may start to play a little bit better once they shut this current off and the shad start to pull back into the creeks. But right now, I'm struggling to find any shad that's not out on the main lake in the main channel. So that's definitely hurt our deep bite. Guys, we are halfway through February. It's 60 degrees and sunny today. I mean, come on, it's freaking perfect for February. Things are warming up. Things are starting to turn on. Bites changing. I really think, unless we get another massive cold front, I think we may actually see quite a few fish move up shallow before next week's BFL, and I could really see a rig and a jerkbait and a crankbait really starting to play next week's BFL, and even a jig if you're fishing that. Best way to know what's going to happen next weekend, join Table Rock Fishing Intel and get our daily reports, our weekly reports, our videos, all that information that we share with you on a daily basis to help you catch more fish on Table Rock Lake. If you're coming down though, want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, and either shoot me an email or book online. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Again, check out Table Rock Fishing Intel if you haven't done so. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.